Well, it is Wednesday and I am back in the office in New Jersey. I had a hearing this morning, a virtual hearing for a detention hearing in New Jersey, and it's a good opportunity to explain again the difference between New Jersey and Pennsylvania's bail system. I've done articles on this, I've done some previous videos on it, but people always have questions about it, so it's a very important topic. It's very important to understand that in New Jersey, unlike Pennsylvania, there is no more cash bail system. Meaning that if you're arrested and charged with a crime and bail is an issue, the prosecution will file a motion to detain the individual, and within 72 hours of that motion, a hearing will be held before a superior court judge. At that hearing, and prior to that hearing, a PSA, a public safety assessment, will be done. And the judge will use that along with hearing argument from both the prosecution and the defense, and determine whether or not the person should be released prior to trial or be held in a county jail prior to trial. And especially now, it's extremely important because most court proceedings are being suspended in New Jersey, especially while things are proceeding with regards to virtual hearings. When it comes to trials, that is not occurring. So if you're being held prior to trial, you're looking at being held possibly indefinitely. At least I can guarantee that if you're arrested now and held prior to trial, you're looking at a trial date probably in the realm of probably March or even April of 2021. So when that public safety assessment is done, what the court is looking at is failures to appear and prior criminal history. And what they're going to determine, and what is completely up to the judge, who is going to determine your release pending pending the disposition of these charges at a trial, is what have you done in the past, what is in your criminal history, and also will you appear for future court dates, and also the risk of new activity, which is based on your criminal history as well. So it's important that first off, if you have an attorney, your attorney explain that to the judge that you retain counsel, and a person who's retained a private attorney is in most cases more likely to appear because you've invested money in this lawyer, and obviously you wouldn't have done that if your intent was to simply not appear for court. With regards to criminal history, if you have a violent criminal past, that could be an issue, obviously, because the judge will look at it and say, well, this individual has been doing quote unquote bad things his whole life, and therefore I'm not going to let him out. But it's important to look at that history and explain to the court that that history is completely unrelated to what is happening in this case. If that is the case, for instance, if you're charged with possession with the intent to distribute and you have an aggravated assault charge from 10 years ago, I would argue that the two matters are completely unrelated, and the fact that you had an aggravated assault charge 10 years ago should not influence the court's decision whether or not you're at risk of committing future activity, or you're somehow a violent individual because it happened 10 years ago, and a lot can happen in 10 years. So all these questions are very important. It's very important that if you are charged with a crime and you're being held in custody, your family reach out to a criminal defense lawyer, explain what's going on, and you get someone on board as soon as possible. The best time to address bail is right when you're arrested, not waiting for a order to be put in place holding you and having an attorney go back in and ask that detention be reopened. That can be done, but it's a complicated process, and why go down that road if you don't have to? In Pennsylvania, we're still on the cash bail system, and the amount of the bail is based on the severity of the crime, the person's prior criminal history, a variety of factors. I'm going to link in articles that I've written both on the New Jersey bail system and the Pennsylvania bail system. If you have questions, 215-755-9000 in Pennsylvania, 856-793-7429 in New Jersey. The numbers are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The website, gamboneLaw.com, a tremendous resource for you and your family. All of my books, my blogs, my videos, everything that I've ever written as an attorney or done is available on that website. I encourage you to check it out. It is a great resource. So once again, 215-755-9000 in Pennsylvania, 856-793-7429 in New Jersey. Have a great Wednesday afternoon, and I will talk to you all soon.